Hey everybody, just doing a quick video here about something I encountered. Well, I encounter a lot. A lot, and there's so much to do videos on. And one of the main focuses of this channel is to kind of try to focus on the healing aspect, not so much experiences, although that is important to share what we experience, just so if any other person is experiencing it, they can also, but I try not to focus on it because it can do a lot of damage, just getting in your psyche and stuff. And, that's one of the things they want. But anyways, regardless, I want to talk about this story because one of the people at work that does this thing, he's a coworker, and I know he spreads rumors about me. He talks shit to my face. And I've been nothing but nice to this person. But if they're talking shit to your face and talking loud about stuff about you that's not true, just imagine what they're saying behind your back. So I know he's one of them, whatever. Anyways, so he was telling me a story the other day, yesterday, actually, last night. And if you've all watched my other videos, even on my other channel, you know that there's a hint to sexual stuff, prostitution, etc., etc. Anyways, so he was talking about, I don't know how the conversation went to this. He brings up prostitution a lot. And so he was talking about a person who was a third-party vendor, because I work in a grocery store, a third-party vendor to a popular juice company, and he would stock the shelves. So they come in, they stock the shelves, and then they leave, whatever, from a company. Anyways, this dude, I guess he had connections to organized crime, and what it was supposedly he had the cover job, which was his job at this company. But his actual job, he owned like a restaurant in Chinatown. It was next to a Chinese massage parlor. And he said something about offering this guy any woman that was there, and he better not refuse or something, whatever nature. So I don't know if this was the objective of the story was to get me thinking about prostitution and sex trafficking, or what, or, if it's actually legit, which it could be. I mean, it's funny because I live in a sanctuary city, and a lot of what that means is human trafficking, child trafficking, sex trafficking, and drug trafficking. That is a lot of what goes on in sanctuary cities. I'm not trying to be mean and be like, oh, I'm all about helping out refugees and stuff that are valid and to go through processes and whatnot. But a lot of what goes down, and a lot of reason why a lot of these fake activists, and I think a lot of this gang stalking and community thing is through fake activism, which they pose as activists, but what happens is they're actually defending criminals. And not everybody that joins these groups knows what's going on, or they might think that you're a bad person, or that you're some evil hater. It's not the case. Well, a lot of what's going on is that they're shielding these criminals and big money through these criminal networks. Anyways, so it's a known fact that California, Oakland, Berkeley area, especially Oakland area, is known for high human trafficking, drug trafficking, sex trafficking. It's known for that. It's actually on the list for high up there. And of course, it's gone down through the current administration. That's one of the reasons why they're so mad. But anyways, I want to get off topic. But yeah, so there is that. And of course, there's a lot of people who buy, oh, person's a hater, you gotta watch him, and whatever. But, it's really interesting because I'll watch things at work. And it's really odd because obviously, there are sexual predators that come in, obvious sexual predators. And it's funny because I've been hinted toward, and I've mentioned this before, about the community bathroom with the code, about going in the community bathroom with whoever. I mean, it's, oh, I heard a couple of people in the community bathroom You know, oh, have you tried that, or not community bathroom, I'm sorry, the family bathroom, which has a code on it. It's more private and it's bigger. Oh, have you been in there? I've had customers go out there, see me over, like they know when I'm over in the bathroom, the customer bathrooms or the drinking fountain, they'll go over there and they'll situate themselves, or they'll have someone seated across the Allegro. Actually, I think I'll do a video just showing the setup. So you know what I'm talking about, where like they go in, they'll have someone seated at the Allegro watching, and then, or they'll kind of figure out when I'm going to be there, and then they'll have someone, like I'll go into the restroom and they'll come out, and then they'll have someone go into, some dude usually, go into the family restroom and come out and start whistling right when I come out. Either that, or like employees will always have to simultaneously use the restroom when I, not always, but a lot of the time. So sometimes I catch them off guard, but a lot of the times that's what happens. Yeah, the coffee bar is a really bad place where people just hang out, like the regulars. Like we have a ton of regulars, and a lot of them do this stuff. But anyways, and like, you know, people go in there with children. Do we know that that's their child? And I already shared my experience with the child that they had, that they totally rigged to make me look like the bad guy, like I was sexualizing a 4-year-old. The child did not look 4. I'm not saying that he wasn't 4. He did not look 4. He was not in there with his mother. The woman that confronted me later was not his mother. I think I went through this in another video. I might just do another video explaining this again. But yeah, they had the child. They had this child do this. The mother was not there. It was another woman in the stall, or in the restroom. I come in. They know that I was going to come in, right? I usually use the restroom. They search for patterns. I go in there. There's another woman in the handicapped bathroom looking at me. There's a child. I'm looking at the child because the child's just going out through the stalls, right? Kind of just wandering around, not going in the bathroom. And then he chose a restroom. I'm going in the other restroom. My pants are down, and child is on the floor looking up like this. And I told him, like, hey, what are you doing? Don't be looking. And he got up and he, you know, and then later on the mother, I did a video on this, and the mother confronts me, gets all up in my space, trying to piss me off, you know, and make me look like I'm trying to target this child, or like singling out this child, whatever, trying to make me look like I'm attacking the child, which I didn't, like verbally attacking or whatever. Yeah, I talk about this in a video. But anyways, it was totally staged. They had another group of people that came to the mother's defense, the kid's defense. I wasn't the kid was fine. You know? It was obviously staged. So they do use children. Also a thing about I have a question, like costumes, children in costumes. I've noticed that, like, and I know it's Berkeley, and I know people, like, and at first I was like, oh, it's cool, you know, parents are allowing their children the freedom to express themselves, and some of that I think is, because children like to wear costumes and express themselves, but some of it's weird, and it's not around Halloween, you know, and they're dressed up as doctors and firemen, like surgeons, like, that was weird, and they're all alone in the aisle, which I don't mind, you know, but it's still, in that store, that's dangerous, a child alone. There's so many sexual predators in that store. Anyways, I don't want to get off topic. Well, I'm not really off topic, but I'm just like, so you got all these things. You got like, so you got a person working at these covers, working at these stores, these companies that are covers. Their job is a cover, and you know, so this guy, going back to the original story, was running a prostitution house in Chinatown, so probably what, Triad, I'm guessing? I mean, if we're talking about Chinatown, it's probably the Triad gang, mafia, Chinese mafia, or something. I doubt it's the Italian mafia, but who knows? I don't know. Probably the cops don't know about it. You know, why are we being targeted, who haven't done anything? And these criminals, you know, just go around. Are they being surveilled? I would assume they are. Or, like, I once watched a video about this. I think it was I think it was Gangstalking Simulation. How he's talking about how the cops really own the criminals. Like if they're, and in this day and age with like cell phone and surveillance, if crime is going down, the cops already know about it or are in conjunction with and are getting some kind of kickback or something. And I'm not saying that's for every cop. I'm just saying that makes sense though. And then of course with the intel community and their history with MK Ultra and using like sex and drugs and prostitutes and stuff, so that goes down. Obviously they didn't stop doing what they were doing. Oh yeah, they got caught and they stopped doing it. They're totally not using today's modern technology and drugs to do their thing. They're totally not using the psych ward to do it too, because remember that was one of their things. MK Ultra was all about the psychology part of it, getting people to do all sorts of stuff through psychology and drugs and all, whatever. But I know this is just kind of a conglomeration, but I wanted to talk about like the whole connection of trafficking, human trafficking, sex trafficking, drug trafficking when it comes to, and we've all made this connection. So it is a connection. But of course, if you snap and you go off about it, they'll be like, oh, well, kind of like with the whole Pizzagate thing, right? Someone snapped. Maybe he was targeted individual, and he was like, but then so if anyone complained, like, so someone snaps and someone does something, then they look crazy, And I'm not saying there was something going on in that area or in that pizza joint or whatever. I'd have to look into it further. I'm not saying there wasn't. I'm not saying there was. I'm just saying, yeah, well, anyone who brings it up looks crazy, because someone snapped. So yeah, you don't want to snap. You also don't want to give in to their crime. But you do want to document as much as you can. You don't want to focus on it too much, because it's there, you can see it, when everyone's doing the same thing, when everyone's got like, and not everyone, but like larger groups of people are doing the thing. And you can tell, like, you're not stupid, you weren't born yesterday, and again, you want to watch it that it doesn't seep into where it's not. But when it's obvious, I mean, I wish, like, honestly, I wish I could get more stuff on camera. Like, I don't want to focus my channel on, like, here's this and here's that, and they're wearing this and they're doing that, because it's kind of hard to prove. Although, there were some instances that were just gold. I'm like, oh man, it's so obvious. But because of the way where I work, like a body cam maybe, I'm tired. Ignoring it has helped. I mean, they still try to do shit, but ignoring it has helped a lot, to be honest. It has. But yes, I definitely want to document this stuff just in case something does happen, with their threats and stuff. I'm just like, this shit is going to be exposed. I mean, all these people coming out, and yeah, it's going to be a little harder because, it's more difficult, but there's some pretty obvious patterns that are being shown in some of these videos. Not so much sometimes when you're like, oh, there's a red car, like, or this guy's a red, but when you got a whole bunch of people in the same area wearing the same thing, and you catch them when they're mobbing. When you catch them when they're mobbing, that's really obvious. Like I say with mine, it's like, don't let the visuals get to you, but like the whistling and stuff, like they tried that, and they'll probably try it again. They listen to this video, oh, we're gonna get her. It hasn't worked before. It's not gonna work now. Okay, all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna expose you by talking about it, and I'm going to go into helping people that go through this. Okay, gotta help people. What I suggest for people going through this is that try not to focus. Do look into it. I do highly recommend looking in, but don't obsess over it. Don't obsess over all the videos. I mean, do watch them so you get, oh yeah, that kind of happened to me, blah, blah, blah. But don't let it get into your head too much. Focus on other things. Find other focuses. Do that. But acknowledge it, right? Document. Definitely document. And, don't freak out. See, the thing is, people freak out when they don't know what's going on. And when you don't know what's going on, like, you're like scared. You don't know what's going on, right? Like, what the fuck is this shit? But the more people who come out and talk about it, show examples or try to, or at least talk about examples, because some of us are in situations where it's harder to record because we get in trouble for it, because we're on the job, whatever. But try to illustrate something. Try to show something. And talk about something so that people can connect, but then try to offer solutions. Like, I'm going to try to offer solutions more. But I did want to talk about, like, the trafficking aspect to it, because we're all kind of noticing a pattern. And who are these kids that are involved? You know, are they the people's children? They might be. Some of them might be like activists, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna get my child to join the movement and all this stuff, and misguided. But then there are the ones that are criminals, and then they have these children that are like, okay, well, okay, you know, who is this child? Are they your child? Is this your child? What is this child? You know, and it's a valid question. It actually is, because, you know, anyone concerned with human rights, you know, women's rights, children's rights, human rights, all that stuff. I mean, this is a major issue, and that you're the one being targeted, where the criminals are going free and they're harassing you and trying to frame you for shit that they're doing. Fuck you. That's just disgusting. That is disgusting. You know, and it's just wrong. Anyways, so these were some thoughts that were going through my head. I just wanted to talk about them, get them out, and like talk about because, you know, Chinatown's pretty close by, a little bit, you know, and, you know, I'm thinking, okay, yeah, obviously that's taking place. I mean, in major cities, especially sanctuary cities, you're definitely going to have crime, because it's not vetted. Well, you're going to have crime with citizens of the nation, right? But when you don't even, like, try to vet, you just have people fleeing from places that actually maybe be fleeing from the law. You know, if you don't know, you know, anything about someone, and they're coming in, and then again, and then you just get free movement of people, free movement of drugs, free movement of children and women, smuggling, all that stuff. It happens. But yeah, it is connected in some way to this. And in some way, some aspect of the law is involved. Government, shadow government, you know, that sort of... Ooh, conspiracy. Well, you know, conspiracies happen. It's called human history. But anyways, I'm going to stop it here. I just wanted to talk about that, get that off my chest. And again, I want to be focusing a little bit more on how to solve these issues from a spiritual way. But again, being like, yeah, you need to talk about your stuff and expose what you know, because that's what a good person would do. You know, I mean, and also too, like, and it helps, like, if someone else, you see something else happen in the media, someone else snap, it always will make you wonder. I bet T.I.'s always wonder now, every time they hear something happened, someone snapped, someone did all this. What really happened? Was it a setup? What was going on? Were they T.I.? Were they being watched? Were they being prodded? Were they being guided to do something, or were they made to look like they were doing something? Not saying that that's always the case. People do snap and people do things. But at the same time, if you want to think that people don't do things, or I'm sorry, that people aren't, that this shit doesn't happen, that framing doesn't happen, that shit doesn't happen. It does. So document all your stuff, so if anything ever happens, you'd be like, well, you know what, I was experiencing all this harassment, all this weird shit going on, so you have something to pull out, because criminals are involved. So anyways, yeah, until next time, stay true to yourself, stay in your power, stay strong.